At Ashley, you'll find colorful furniture that brings your home to life. Ashley makes it easier than ever to express your personal style with an array of looks in fun trending hues to choose from earth tones to vibrant colors to calming blues and greens. Ashley has pieces for every room in the house in the season's most sought-after shades. A more colorful life starts at Ashley. Shop in store, online today. Ashley, for the love of home.
Hello everybody and welcome to another episode of Attack the Baseline, a WNBA podcast where every episode we attack our baseline knowledge of the WNBA. Our Olympians are home, gold medal in tow, or bronze medal for the 3-on-3s. We're back watching WNBA basketball, but before we get into the news, Kristen, how have you enjoyed having W back on our TV?
Oh, I've loved it. We didn't really have many plans this weekend. We were kind of chilling.
It was a chiller weekend, yeah.
Right, finally, really, for the summer. Mm-hmm. So we sat and we watched a couple games. It was really fun getting back into it, seeing these players that we haven't seen for a while.
Yes.
I loved it. It's been great.
Yeah, it's certainly easy to tell who was in Paris for, a couple weeks. There are some slower players, some people that are still picking up after their jet lag and whatnot.
Yeah, you can. Well, I was expecting Stewie and Sabrina to be more tired. They seemed perfectly fine.
The Liberty are locked and loaded.
Yeah, some of the Aces players seemed, slow. Who was it? Courtney Vandersloot. You could tell time had passed because she had a mask on. Uh-huh. And they said that she broke her nose in a practice.
Crazy.
Over the break. So she's okay.
Right.
That was funny. But yeah, we're getting back into it.
So hope for a speedy recovery for Sloot because she's missed time random points during the season. So you don't want her to be out with considering how well the Liberty have played. But yeah, it's back normal WNBA calendar. We've got somewhere between 12 and 13 games left per team before we get into the playoffs. So it's gonna come up pretty quick. So buckle up, get ready. This week we're going to be talking about the LA Sparks and all that we've seen following them over the last couple games since the season has resumed. So look forward to that in a follow-up podcast to this. But before that, we've got some news to go through, and a particularly delicate subject that predates our time following the WNBA. There is a massive lawsuit between Dearica Hamby, one of our 3-on-3 medalists, and the star standout of the LA Sparks, and one Las Vegas Aces franchise. So, Kristen, you have more of the details about that. But what is going on in this suit right now? Because it's a big deal.
Yeah. So it kind of worked out that we were focusing on the Sparks this week, that, this all seemed to center around the Sparks. And we're actually recording this right before the Sparks are playing the Aces.
Yes.
So that is the big game tonight.
Yeah, later tonight we'll be checking into that.
So we'll see, later on how they do. The Dearica Hamby herself tends to go off against the Aces. So, the Sparks have beaten the Aces in the past. So we will see.
That is true, earlier this year.
But yeah, this was just kind of a crazy situation. That definitely predates us watching the W.
Right.
But really, from what I understand, if you, listener, have more of an understanding, let us know. But from what I understand, Dearica Hamby was on the Aces since 2015. She was on the Aces.
So a long run with the team.
A long time. And she was on the team in 2022 when they won the championship.
Okay.
She was given another contract for 2023. that had some other things in it, to help her out with the one daughter that she had. They were covering daycare for her first daughter.
Okay.
And they had provided team provided housing for her as well.
Okay.
That's what she negotiated for her contract. And really only a month later, in July of 2022, I guess, she found out she was pregnant.
Okay.
When she announced she was pregnant.
Right, so this is like mid-season. It was like a mid-season announcement. July of 22.
Yeah, I guess so.
Okay.
Yeah, mid-July.
Uh-huh.
And she basically alleged at the time that the Aces were unhappy that she got pregnant. There was a phone call between her and Becky Hammond that I don't know if the actual phone call was recorded. I saw like a transcript of it.
Oh, yikes.
But I don't know if that was just like notes written down about the conversation afterward or what. But essentially it was like Becky Hammond saying, allegedly, that that the team, that they were unhappy that Dearica had gotten pregnant again. They said, you weren't being careful to not get pregnant. We need you to be dedicated and, passionate, ready to play.
Right.
And we don't think you're so dedicated to this team if you're getting pregnant.
Okay.
Basically.
Well, this is before they win their first title. Because it's 22. So they're trying to, be full steam ahead to win the first chip of the two that they've won consecutively. I wonder if they felt this way because they thought they had a really good chance to win, and that she was an important part of their team and had been an important part of her team.
I think they were concerned that she was going to miss a lot of time.
Right.
Well, she didn't. She didn't miss any.
She didn't miss any time.
She didn't miss one game because of this.
It helped them win a championship.
Correct.
Right.
But then, after the season, they ended up trading her to the Sparks. And she alleges that they traded her because they were unhappy that she was pregnant. They traded her. What they say is they wanted to get, I guess her contract was too big. They could get 3 players for her one contract.
Okay.
And one of these players that they got was Candace Parker.
Okay.
For trading her. Which seems good.
Sure. Candace Parker, who we know didn't really play a ton in 23.
Right. She actually didn't play that much.
Right.
But that's neither here or there. Okay, well, basically she filed a complaint to the W saying that there was acts of intimidation, discrimination, and retaliation from the Aces, all centered around her pregnancy. And the WNBA did a around 2 months long investigation about it.
2 months, okay.
They reviewed texts and emails and documents and things. And they did end up giving Becky Hammond a 2-game suspension for a violation of league and team respect in the workplace policies.
And does it say when that 2 games was? Was that like the following year?
It was in May 2023.
Okay, so the start of the following season, Becky Hammond's got a 2-game suspension, which...
Yeah. And they also rescinded the Aces' first-round pick in 2025.
Okay. So this coming draft,
the
Aces won't have a first.
Correct.
Which doesn't really matter considering where the Aces are going to pick. They're going to pick either the 11th pick or the 12th pick.
Right.
Third team. There's another team. But anyway.
And that was for impermissible player benefits involving Dearica Hamby.
Impermissible player benefits. Okay.
I don't know. And that's the only time they've ever rescinded a draft pick for a team.
The only time?
Yeah.
Really? Mm-hmm. Holy.
So basically, after that, I guess Dearica and her team, they weren't happy with the outcome of that. So she filed a complaint to the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission.
Okay.
Basically, like, I guess you have to, like, complain to them and they tell you you have, like, a right to sue.
Okay.
So now
like, give you standing to
right,
sue.
and that took a long time, I guess.
Okay. Mm.
Which is why it's happening now.
Right.
Now she is officially, like, suing the W and the Aces.
Right.
So she wants compensation. She wants benefits.
Yeah.
All around this.
Okay. Well, I mean, it certainly sounds like the Aces were very much in the wrong here, considering that she didn't miss any time. She was able to play. She helped them win a championship. She has her kid now in the off season. So, you know, what we have learned from following the W now is that a lot of players in the off season, it's like schedule pregnancies so that they can, you know, have kids in a time period where they, you know, have extra time before they have to play.
Right, which she, I guess, did. Like, her son was born in January.
Right.
Which is perfectly fine. Seems fine to me.
I mean, honestly, pretty goated by Dearica that she was able to play.
Oh, yeah.
You know, with 4 months pregnant, 5 months pregnant, even 5 months pregnant. January, no, 4 months pregnant. Kind of like a Serena Williams, like goated, like I want a championship, I want a title, pregnant. That's pretty intense.
Yeah.
Pretty intense.
Yeah. I don't know. I guess I'm just like, the discourse I've seen around it is like, wow, I can't believe the W is like discriminates against women when they're pregnant. And it's like, well, the league started. You have to look at, how did this league start?
Right.
This league started as a way for the NBA to make money off of women in the NBA offseason.
Right.
They never cared about these women. They never cared about, at the beginning, they never cared about, you know, making it as friendly to women in the workplace as possible. That wasn't the goal of this.
Right.
So, yeah, it's a business. It suffers from business, you know, greed that every business...
Corporate greed.
That every business basically in this country suffers from.
Yeah.
So, to me, it's not surprising, but yeah, it's obviously horrible. It's obviously terrible.
Yeah.
And I hope that, you know, Dearica and other players who've gone through similar things, I'm sure other players have felt similarly at one point or another, potentially discriminated or pushed out because they've gotten pregnant. And I hope that no other players have to feel that way.
Yeah. Yeah. And we're gonna be following this. I mean, there are calls for, you know, Becky Hammon's job, which, like, yeah, she probably should lose her job for something like this. Will she lose her job? I doubt it.
Well, my thing is, yeah, I guess the main phone call around that has a bunch of the evidence was with Becky Hammon.
Right.
But, like, she doesn't have the authority to trade Dearica.
Correct. Right.
So I think it's people above her as
Oh,
well
yeah, I mean,
that
yeah.
have to be, you know, see some punishment.
Right. And the Aces aren't, they're not strangers to legal battles, and they get into these weird situations. And, you know, we've heard ESPN dailies about different things that the Aces have gone through. And in certain cases, they're a very well-run organization, but this is just very clearly a bad look for the franchise. So I hope that Dearica gets everything that she deserves out of this, and that she's not, you know, ostracized for bringing this to the attention of the league and, you know, the league office. So yeah, we followed Dearica Hamby a lot over the last couple weeks, and, you know, this week especially too, following the Sparks. So it's interesting to hear all of this now, especially considering we didn't know about this story before we started following the W. So
Yeah.
big news for Dearica Hamby versus the Aces. We'll see if we ever hear more about it. We'll pop in about it. But that's the biggest news today in the WNBA as we get restarted.
It is just interesting. Like, she's suing the organization that she is still working for and is still, like, actively playing in.
Yeah.
I don't know. That seems like interesting dynamics.
But we can segue that into another organization that she will be a part of. We have 3 more Unrivaled basketball league players. The first of which we found out right after we returned from the Olympics. Dearica Hamby will be playing 3-on-3 ball, as she did in Paris, for Unrivaled.
And that...
At Ashley, you'll find colorful furniture that brings your home to life. Ashley makes it easier than ever to express your personal style with an array of looks in fun trending hues to choose from earth tones to vibrant colors to calming blues and greens. Ashley has pieces for every room in the house in the season's most sought-after shades. A more colorful life starts at Ashley. Shop in store, online today. Ashley, for the love of home.
Is a good sign to me that the players are not also,
Correct.
against her.
Correct.
Or else she wouldn't have been invited to play.
Likely not. Yeah. So it's very good to see. And that was the same day that all this news came out again, was when she was announced. It's like she was announced in the morning, and then we hear about the lawsuit in the evening, and it's like, whoa, okay. Shoot, big day for Dearica.
Right.
So we get Dearica Hamby, we get Kayla McBride of the Lynx, and Marina Mabry of the Connecticut Sun. The now Connecticut Sun player who was just traded from the Chicago Sky. Exciting couple folks, long-term veterans in the W. We know we're going to see some more rookies, but this just continues to be a really cool slate of a lot of diverse WNBA players. We actually learned right before, was it after we won the gold? I think it was after the woman won the gold. Nafisa did an AMA on Twitter about any questions that you have about the league. I'll answer as many as I can. And we mentioned this on the podcast. We put in a couple questions, and we got some answers to our questions from Nafisa. So we're thinking about maybe doing What We Know Now pod about the Unrivaled League and all the questions that were asked to Nafisa and what she answered. So that's just like a teaser. But it's starting to become a more realized thing. We're going to continue to get clues to the other 17 players left in the league. But it's just continued to be a cool roster of different WNBA players. So we love that. And our last news story, before we get into all of our LA Sparks talk, is a number of transactions. So since we've started this season, really the only big transactions that I can think of are the Marina Mabry trade, which is a big one, and the releasing of Queen Egbo from the Connecticut Sun.
Okay.
But we have transactions because on the 20th of August, it's the trade deadline, which generally, as an NBA fan, trade deadline day is like one of my favorite days of the year. It's always popping. There's always like a million things going on. We got Woj and Shams tweeting, bang, bang, bang. But they don't do that the same way in the WNBA. So
yeah, it doesn't seem like it's going to be the same vibes as that.
No.
Like maybe 2 people will be traded. Like 2 trades. I can't foresee that many trades happening.
I don't know. Maybe some of those middle, like the middle teams, the 6-7 seeds. Maybe Atlanta tries to make a move where they try to add and make a push. Maybe a team that's like, maybe Chicago tries to trade off more pieces because they want to lose. I don't really know.
And I think especially with these upcoming drafts being so up in the air with expansion and everything.
They're not going to want to trade picks.
Right, they're not. So I feel like it might be more conservative.
Player for player stuff or, seconds or thirds.
Yeah.
I would doubt firsts, but we know firsts were moved in the Mabry trade, so we're going to find out. But assuming that there's some pop, we'll do a deadline reaction pod. It might only be 5 minutes because who the heck knows. But here are the lists so far of everything that's happened since the W has returned. Celeste Taylor, who is a rookie that was drafted by Phoenix and released by Phoenix, signed a 7-day hardship contract with the Sun. So kind of an interesting deal. I've heard a little bit about her. Haven't really seen much of her play, but you never know. A rookie at the end of the Sun bench probably won't get a lot of time, but you never know. The bigger one was Odyssey Sims and Monique Billings of the Dallas Wings were both released at the same time. Mm-hmm. And when I saw that, I was a little bummed because
sad.
We talked about Odyssey Sims a lot. Mm-hmm. Odyssey Sims was kind of cooking, like 17 points for Dallas.
Spoiler.
She's back.
Odyssey Sims is on the Sparks now.
Which is a very funny thing. We watched the game yesterday, which was against the Chicago Sky. And Odyssey Sims suited up, played number 6, no name on her jersey.
I was like, her name's not on that jersey. They literally must have called her up that morning and gotten her on a plane. She just got there.
Right.
Like, they just had this jersey in the back.
Pretty amazing.
In case. Insane.
So you assume she woke up in Dallas, got the call, hey, we're giving you a 7-day.
I don't even know if she was in Dallas because she got released from Dallas a couple days before.
A couple days before, right. So who knows where she is.
So wherever she lives,
maybe she lives in LA.
Maybe.
I don't know. We did learn that Odyssey Sims had a stint with the Sparks as well in 17-18. The announcers in the game were like, yeah, Odyssey's been around. She didn't do a ton in the game. She played 15-ish minutes. Yeah. She scored. She got some rebounds. But, adds a veteran presence to a team that is bad. Okay. Sorry.
We'll get into that.
We'll get into that in plenty of detail.
Yeah.
And then the other... Monique Billings, who I mentioned was released, signed a 7-day with the Mercury, which I think is a pretty good pickup for the Mercury, and I would kind of expect her to stick around there because she gives them a little extra size. When we talked about them week 2, we know they're a smaller team outside of BG. Natasha Mack is their primary rebounder, and she's 6'2", and Monique Billings is 6'4". So somewhere in the middle of all of the smaller players for Phoenix and BG is probably useful for a team that is continuing to push to try to gain ground and be a better seed than they're hoping.
They need to not lose their playoff spot.
And they're not going to lose their playoff spot. But it would be better if they're not the 8 seed and have to play the Aces in the first, or the Liberty in the first round.
Yeah.
Or the Aces in the first round.
It's not looking good for them. So, yeah, any pieces that can help, I think, are good.
Correct. And then the other two that we have, Jalen Sherrod of the Liberty, released. And Kiana Williams of the Storm, released.
Okay.
So, there's that. I don't really know much about them. I don't think we saw either of them play when we followed those teams. But that's okay. It happens. And then I guess a sort of adjacent return is the Ryan Howard returning to the Atlanta lineup. They could be kind of back, and they need it.
I am rooting for them. I think they're back.
If they could get an 8 seed, that would be good for them because Alicia Gray, we know she's got aura. Tina Charles, we talked a ton about her a couple weeks ago.
I'm rooting for her.
Ryan, they've got a good team.
I know.
They should be good. We're gonna say.
Okay. Well, I think just, there are a bunch of games this weekend. I guess 2 highlights that we can make were that the Fever again beat the Mercury.
Yep. 3-game sweep.
I think cementing that, they'll finish above them, I think.
I don't know. You never know. I mean, it helps them in a tiebreaker, but
yeah,
I don't expect them to
They
tie.
were hot. The Fever were hot.
Well, yeah. Caitlin's been practicing.
Yeah. I mean, they got a lot of practice time.
Caitlin, Aaliyah, and
all the Fever players. So good for them. And then really, I think the most interesting game was the Dallas Wings and the Connecticut Sun game, which ended very high scoring.
Yep.
It was like 109 to 93.
91.
So, I mean, not a surprise that the Wings lost, but Alyssa Thomas made her first three-pointer ever.
But it didn't count.
But it did not count, which is crazy because there was a foul like right before it.
Yep.
So that sucks, but she made it, so that's great.
She did, in fact.
And then just getting to see
Satu's back.
and Enrique play together.
Yep.
That was fun.
Jaylen Brown as well from her 24-game sickness and injury.
So I expect a little bit of a bump for the Wings.
Yes. The Wings are my dark horse 8 seed. We're going to find out. It would be pretty cool but they also have the hardest schedule left. So
that's
probably nothing. And we shouldn't end this episode without noting that today, while we're recording this, there have been some major upsets. Atlanta just knocked off the Connecticut Sun, winning by 12. So not only did they beat the Storm earlier this week, but they also just knocked off the Sun. Maybe we are right about Ryan Howard giving them this extra dimension and being back. They got work to do, but they could be that 8 seed that we're talking about.
Oh, Tina Charles.
Tina Charles too.
Yeah, Tina Charles had a really good game. She had a double-double. So it wasn't just Ryan Howard who had a good game. Jordan Canada had a good game.
Jordan Canada kind of bad. Like, I feel like I haven't really seen Jordan Canada play, so I'm excited to see that eventually.
So yeah, they're gelling. Watch out for the Dream.
Watch out for the Dream. And then, of course, there was another major upset with the Fever knocking off the Storm. So the Storm had a bit of a tough week this week, losing some games that they were definitely favored in.
Not a good weekend. I mean, many of them were in the Olympics, the Storm players.
No, just Jewel.
Jewel Ezzy was there.
Oh, true.
Sammy Whitcomb was there.
True.
They were over.
No, you're right.
Yeah.
Some of their major players.
Right. So, yeah, the Storm had a rough weekend for sure. But the Fever had an amazing game.
Oh, my gosh.
Lexi Hull was 6 for 7 from 3.
Lexi Hall, I apologize. I was unfamiliar with her game.
Well, we hadn't watched before this.
I mean, that's just a good old meme reference.
Yeah.
I was unfamiliar with your game, Lexi Hull.
Kelsey Mitchell had 5 threes.
Woo.
Aaliyah Boston was very close to having a triple-double.
That would have been sick.
Yeah. So that was a great...
Yeah, you're right. You're right. I think they they could fly right past
the
Mercury and not be shocked.
They're going to. I don't doubt it. The team is so young. They seem like they really get along with each other. They seem like they're having a great time now. Compared
absolutely.
to the beginning when it was really rough. Now I think they're having a great time, and they're going to make a run, I think.
Things you love to see. So that's pretty much the goings on as we return to league action. As we mentioned earlier, we're going to...
Oh, wait, I do have something else. The Valkyries court was...
announced?
Not really announced, like teased.
Okay, like a 3D image or just like a top-down...
Yeah, it was like dark, like the lights were off.
Okay.
And it was just like showing the lights of the logos. It was scanning around the stadium.
Ooh.
It was cool. The Chase Center.
Uh-huh.
I like it.
You like it? Uh-huh. Yeah, so go check that one out.
Yeah.
A lot of purples there. We know they love purple. It's cool. It's cool we're getting ready for Valkyrie talk.
Yes.
We still don't know any more that we knew when I talked to Tim, listener Tim.
Well, we got to find out soon because they're going to have to start, like, they're working behind the scenes.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
It's coming up, the draft,
That
basically. So.
Yep. We're only 5 months away.
Yeah, that's crazy.
It's pretty crazy. Oh, no, I can't do math. 7 months away. Who knows what is going on in the Valkyrie lands. But that's going to do it for our news and notes wrap up for the return of the WNBA. We're going to also be posting shortly a breakdown of the LA Sparks and what we saw following the LA Sparks in a little more detail. But look forward to that. And as I mentioned, you can send us an email at attackthebaseline@gmail.com or connect with us on our Twitter at ATBpod_. We'd love to hear from you. Everything you have to say about the W. It's exciting that it's back. And it's no longer Olympic talks. Full W. And look forward to our deadline pod, assuming that something good happens. And enjoy the Sparks conversation that we have coming up. And hopefully they win one of these games, so we have a win to talk about. Otherwise, it's going to be a bunch of losses. And they're playing the Aces tonight, so I don't feel great about it. But you'll probably know, already listening to this, how that goes.
Yeah.
But we'll see. Anyway, Kristen, let's wrap this one up. I'm looking at the baseline. What are we going to do?
Attack it.
Attack the baseline. We'll be right back with another podcast. Talking to you soon about more WNBA content. But until then, talk to you later. Bye.
At Ashley, you'll find colorful furniture that brings your home to life. Ashley makes it easier than ever to express your personal style with an array of looks in fun trending hues to choose from earth tones to vibrant colors to calming blues and greens. Ashley has pieces for every room in the house in the season's most sought-after shades. A more colorful life starts at Ashley. Shop in store or online today. Ashley, for the love of home.